What's up, Ant City, and welcome back to another Sparking Zero video. As I'm sure you've seen on the channel lately, we've been doing a lot of these videos going over this Twitter thread I made about stuff that I want to see in the game. So in today's video, we're going to be going over stages, so let's just jump straight into it. So one thing I want to say about Sparking Zero is I think one of the things Sparking Zero needs desperately is more stages. I think that's one of the biggest things that this game is lacking in is stages, because like the stages they have are good, but there are certain ones we're going to go over in this thread that I feel like it's kind of weird to me that they weren't added actually, but we'll go through it and I'll talk about those when we get there. But the first one I have here is Hell. This map I think would be cool to add just because it's like super iconic, you know, like most Dragon Ball games. If like I can't think of many that didn't have this stage, to be honest, but pretty much every Dragon Ball game has Hell as a map, like Tenkaichi 3, the Xenoverse games, even like the Budokai games had Hell as a stage. So it's just kind of weird to me that Sparking Zero just doesn't have it. So to me, it just makes sense that Sparking Zero does get this map at some point. It's just, you know, it's one that a lot of games did have, so just, you know, why not add it here? The next one I've got here is the Otherworld Tournament Arena. The reason I picked this one is because it's just kind of funny that we have a whole option to play an Otherworld Tournament rule set within the World Tournament mode, but we don't have the stage for the Otherworld Tournament. Like I do get, like, you know, they like kind of randomize it so you can play on whatever stage that's in the game, but like, why not make the actual stage where the Otherworld Tournament happened be an option? I just think that would make sense and would be cool. To be fair though, with this one, I don't know if any other games have really used this stage. I don't think it's been in many, if any, games at all. But the fact that there's a whole Otherworld Tournament mode makes me feel like we should just get the map, you know, like, why not? Next one I've got is the Tournament of Destroyers Arena. So the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 map, which I think would be cool because, I mean, you can play as Hit and Kaioken Blue. You could even play Chozetsu Dynamic in the background when you spar. So, like, this would just make it feel more canon. And again, this is just like the Otherworld Tournament where we have a mode for Tournament of Destroyers. We don't have the stage. Like, I just think that if you're going to have these modes, add the stages for them, because just to make it more coherent. That's like, imagine there's like a Tournament of Power mode, but then they didn't add the Tournament of Power stage. Like sure, it's more based on like the rule set, but adding the stages just makes it more immersive, you know? Like Tournament of Power is fun because you get to fight on the Tournament of Power stage with Tournament of Power rules, like knocking people off the edge and stuff. Like, that's what makes it fun. But like, imagine you're just playing on the regular World Tournament map. Like, I don't know. I just think it makes it more immersive if you add the actual stages. Now this next one kind of pisses me off. I'm not gonna lie, because okay, I've talked about this in multiple of these videos now, but why are we keeping stuff locked behind story mode in the big 2024, well 2025 now, but 2024 is when the game came out. So the map I have here is the Land of the Kais from Universe 10. So this one is the stage where Goku fights Zamasu. If you played Episode Battle or if you've seen Dragon Ball Super, Goku like spars with Zamasu here as a Super Saiyan 2. And it's always like, to me, the fact that this is in story mode but not playable in the regular game is just stupid, because it's fully functional. Like, like this one, I feel like should be added more than any other one I'm going to list here, purely because it's literally playable in the game. So what's the excuse to not just let us use it however we want? Like, I don't know, maybe they had issues with like online or something. I don't know how it works, but the fact it's in the game and fully playable, just make it like you could even just make it a variation for the regular Land of the Kais. I don't get why this one's not here, but this is the same argument I had with like Gohan Black or like Zamasu's outfit and stuff like that. It's like, why are we locking these things behind story mode and not just giving it to us if they're fully programmed in the game? I don't know. That's why this stage just pisses me off, because it's one of those things that it's like, it's there and like it's not the biggest deal, but that's the problem with me. It's like Gohan Black, I can kind of understand it because maybe he wasn't done, so they want to take more time to flesh him out more before they add him. But this stage, it's like most people probably wouldn't care, and it feels like, to me at least, I don't know. Again, I don't know anything about how the programming for all this works, but it feels like it would just be as simple as like hitting like a check mark. Not actually, I know coding isn't just like you click buttons, but like, you know, just to dumb it down, it's like hitting a check mark and being that like activates it for people, like changing a line of code that allows this to be used whenever. I don't understand why this one isn't here, but please add it. The next one I've got here is the Ice Continent from DBS Broly. This is another one I'm kind of surprised wasn't added along with like some other Broly movie stuff, because because Sparking Zero, which I've mentioned this in a lot of videos too, is based on like Broly movie and the Broly movie designs. So it's kind of surprising that they skipped out on adding the stage. And this could be a stage that has stage destruction, kind of like how Namek, where if you use your super and it hits the ground, it blows up the planet. Or like the World Tournament map, where if you almost hit the audience, they all run away. I think having the Ice Continent from Broly would make a lot of sense. It would be like the perfect way to like implement this stage and give us more stages. I just think it makes sense and would look really cool. And now, speaking of ice maps from Broly, is the Glacier from Broly Second Coming. I just think this one would be another cool one to add, just to like, you know, flesh out the roster a bit more. But I feel like if you're gonna add this one though, you better add the Second Coming outfit for Broly. That's all I'm gonna say. But this one would be another cool map, but I could see them maybe skipping this one because, you know, we have the Ice Continent from Broly if they add that. But this one they could add in like Natade Village too. So I don't know, we'll see. Now this next one I've got is Planet Tuffle. Mostly because we don't have any maps from GT at all in Sparking Zero. Not a single GT map. So I think this one could potentially get added, especially because there are GT characters that are missing that they could add to this game still. So I think giving us maps to go along with that would be cool. I think Planet Tuffle at least should be added though. It's definitely like the most iconic, or one of the most iconic GT like special locations. So I think a GT map would be really cool. Now next we've got the Underground Cave from Battle of Gods. So this is where Goku and Beerus fight. This map has always just looked really cool to me. You know, it's in Xenoverse, for example. So I've always thought that this map just was really cool and fun to play. And like, it's one of my favorite stages in all of Xenoverse. So I think it'd be really interesting to see what Sparking Zero could do with it. In like, imagine they had like some sort of stage destruction, so you end up in the sky. I don't know. Now this next one is kind of just like a what the fuck, but Kami's Lookout. I cannot believe I have to say we want this one in the game, because I genuinely, like, when I was making this thread, I like had to do a double take when I realized this one wasn't already in the game. And it feels like why? Because I swear like every Dragon Ball game has Kami's Lookout. So it feels really odd that they didn't add this one, which almost makes me think for Sparking Zero's development, perhaps stages were like one of the last things they worked on. And they put like their focus on other stuff. I don't know, because Kami's Lookout feels like a huge omission. Not because it's like my favorite stage or anything, mind you, but it's like, it's just one that's always there. Like, it feels like you're playing a Dragon Ball game, Kami's Lookout is an option. Like, it just kind of feels obvious. But it's not in this game at all, so it's kind of peculiar to me. It makes me wonder if something happened. I mean, it's possible that Sparking Zero did kind of get rushed a bit towards the end of its lifetime, because they wanted it out to coincide with Daima. Because Daima came out around the same time as Sparking Zero, and I think that was probably a part of it. But they wanted Sparking to be out when Daima was ready, so they can put out like Daima DLC and stuff like that. Which, like, I don't really mind it as long as they are working on these updates. Like, if we never get Kami's Lookout, I'm gonna kind of side-eye the developers. Like, what are you doing over there, Spike? You know? But we'll see. But this one just feels like, oh, what's going on here, you know? Next one I've got here is the Tree of Might stage. This one was one I was actually shocked was added to Xenoverse 2, because Xenoverse 2 has the Tree of Might stage. Like, you know, it's mostly, honestly, just like a sky map, but with a different background, if we're being honest. But it was still cool to see it, though. It was still cool to see that they added this stage. And maybe another thing they could do is maybe even have the one in Sparking Zero be actually at the base of the tree. Because the Xenoverse map is like in the sky near the tree, where Sparking Zero could be different and do it like at the base of the tree. I don't know. I just always thought this stage was pretty cool. And I think if Sparking Zero added it, they could do some creative stuff with it. Next one I've got here is Space. Space is kind of like a generic area that a lot of Dragon Ball games also have. This one's not like high on my priority list, but it would just be cool to get the space map. And they could even maybe do it like Fighters, where you're fighting on like an asteroid outside of the planet, or just do it like Xenoverse, where the whole thing is straight up just in the sky. Either way would be cool, but I just think some sort of space map would work. Next here I've got Planet Vegeta, but specifically what I would like to see is that you actually run around and fight on Planet Vegeta instead of like how Xenoverse does it in the sky above Planet Vegeta. One way they could implement that is by taking inspiration from Kakarot, because Kakarot does have like a pretty fully modeled Planet Vegeta that you get to run around on. So I mean, you could just take inspiration or just pull from that to make a Planet Vegeta that you can actually fight on, and maybe even have like King Vegeta's castle and stuff in the background. Like, because my problem with the Xenoverse map is it's basically just space but red, you know? Whereas if you're fighting on Planet Vegeta, that makes it more unique. So I think that would be pretty cool. Next, I've got Diablo Desert, which if you don't know what Diablo Desert is, that's the area where Yamcha's little bandit hut was. Because when in OG Dragon Ball, when we first meet Yamcha, he is abandoned. He's living in this desert, and the desert's called Diablo Desert. I just think this would be a cool map to add from OG Dragon Ball. That's part of the reason why. But also, this one doesn't bother me as much, but like with the Yamcha games, this would be a cool place to have a venue. The reason this one doesn't bother me as much as the other ones is because the Yamcha games is not really technically a thing. So it's, to me, it's fine, because even the way that mode works is it picks a character randomly for you. So I think it also picking the stage randomly is cool. But, you know, I think having Diablo Desert as an option, like maybe even in the finals, you'll fight Yamcha in Diablo Desert. I think that'd be cool. Just, you know, kind of gives it like a venue, a specific venue for the Yamcha games. I think that would be cool. Now, this map I didn't mention earlier in the thread because I thought the Sparking Zero Superhero DLC would have it, but it didn't. So the Red Ribbon Army base. Kind of weird that Sparking Zero didn't add any maps to this DLC. Makes, I don't know. Part of me is hoping that just means they're focusing more on Daima maps. Maybe that's what it is, because they gave us like 11 characters, which is sick. Like some of those characters I've had so much fun with. Like I really love Orange Piccolo, and then Beast is just insane. But just weird to me that there wasn't any maps at all. So maybe they're working on Daima maps. But either way, at some point, I would like to see the Red Ribbon Army base, especially because, again, this game really needs a lot more stages. So this felt like the perfect opportunity to add a map, and they just didn't. So I just think this would be cool to see. But again, maybe they're cooking up something crazy with Daima. I guess we'll see when the first DLC drops, but yeah. Next map I've got here is the Inside of Buu. This is one of the most unique maps, and I'm pretty sure this one was only ever in Budokai 3. So seeing this map actually fully in 3D would be really, really sick to see. And I don't know, I just always liked the design, especially the way Budokai 3 handled it. I've always just liked the way this map looked, and it's very unique. So I think more unique maps like this is what Sparking Zero needs. Now moving in the complete opposite direction of unique, I have Mountain Road. So this one I would like to see just because it was in Tenkaichi 3 and stuff like that. But honestly, this one's pretty low on my priority because it is just like another mountain map. I think other stages like Hell or Inside Buu, those sorts of stages, is what Sparking Zero needs more than anything. I think more than just the amount of maps, it's the variety in maps is what's important to me. Like if they added like, let's say like 5 more maps this year and that's it, but they're all very unique and stand out, I think that's fine. I think that is what matters the most to me versus having every stage, you know, like Mountain Road would be cool, mostly because it was in Tenkaichi 3, and I know it's a pretty iconic map for people, but again, it is just like another mountain. It does have a river going through, which is cool, but we've got like, you know, like islands, we've got the Rocky Mountains, we've got a lot of mountain maps already. So I think this one maybe could get added like later. I think for now we need more unique maps. And speaking of unique maps, Snake Way. This one they could do it the way Super Dragon Ball Z handled it, where, because obviously if you fought like on Snake Way, it would be really cramped and wouldn't actually really work for the game if it was just the road of Snake Way. But do it like Super Dragon Ball Z did it and let you fight on top of the clouds that are next to Snake Way. So obviously in the anime, if you fall down Snake Way, you end up like in hell where Gaz and Mez are. But I think just letting you fight on top of the clouds would be perfectly fine. I mean, they've done this in Super Dragon Ball Z. The map looks really cool and again would be super, super unique. And they could even maybe do a stage transition where you go underneath Snake Way and they even add like Gaz and Mez as NPCs in the background. Something like that would be cool. But I think Snake Way is one of the most unique maps they could add, especially because they could just let you fight on the clouds, and that would be really cool. The next one I've got here is Mount Paozu. Now, I know this is yet another mountain map, and honestly, if I had to pick, I'd rather have Mount Paozu over Mountain Road. To be fair, though, the way Tenkaichi 3 did this map was pretty unique. And now that we have Kakarot out, because I think Kakarot has a very beautiful Mount Paozu, I think with that game being out and they can pull stuff from that would make this really cool. This would make this map like really, really unique. So I think if we're getting another mountain map, it should be this one because it's a very iconic location. It's literally Goku's house and, you know, where Goku and Chi-Chi live now. So I think this location's super iconic and should be added. But yeah, that's it for stages in this video. This video is probably going to be shorter than some of the other ones. Probably not the shortest. I think there's another category I have that's like even shorter than this one, but Again, I feel like the other stuff I talked about, I would want to see more, like, you know, costumes, characters, those sorts of things, I think are more important. Just because I think customization is a big thing Sparking Zero needs, but I think maps is also very important. But I feel like mostly if they just add a few of the maps I talked about, and it's just the most unique ones, like if they add like, you know, like Inside of Boo, Hell, Snake Way, like if they just give us a couple more unique maps, I think the map problem in Sparking Zero would go away. I think as long as the maps are unique, it makes the list of maps feel more full if they're unique. Because I think that's the problem a lot of people have, is some of the maps like Namek and like the islands are kind of similar. Like, yeah, Namek is Namek. Of course, you're gonna have Namek as its own stage, and you can even destroy Namek. But like overall, a lot of the maps kind of feel samey. Where if they add some more unique ones in there, I think that will greatly improve the list of maps, even if they don't add a ton of them. But yeah, let me know if there's any maps that you think I missed though, that you think should be added. Maybe one I just didn't talk about or just didn't think about that you think should be added, or if you agree with any of the maps in this video. But yeah, that's it from me though. So until next time, I'll see you guys later, and peace. Have a good day or night, y'all.